I want to show you a little comparison here. This is the 1934 Singer 99. It used to be a 9913, but that designation of 13 refers to the knee bar. There it is, naked, out of the case. Adorable, perfect. And this is the Brother LX3014. Now, look at the size difference, first of all. Now, the Brother LX3014, I don't think is made anymore, but it's the 1705, Brother 1705 or SM 1705. Very similar machines still being made by both Singer and Brother. Now, it's not only the size difference, it's feature difference. So, I may have to keep the Brother out simply because it weighs about, they say 12 pounds, I think it's more like 13 or 14. And let's say I need to mend some curtains that are on the other side of the house, I can just pick this up and do the project over there. I can also do that with this, but this way weighs about 25 pounds. So right now my consideration is anything I can pick up is good. But then I was thinking of my neighbor who bought a little, like a mending machine, because she felt something like this would be too much for her. And I was thinking, well, this is about as basic as you get. And then I realized, no, this is as basic as you get. This is complicated. So any of you that have mastered a simple Brother or Singer, yay, give yourself some kudos. From my perspective, it's easy. You follow the manual. There are buttonhole steps, a few zigzag and specialty stitches, and a few different stitch lengths. So what you don't have to figure out is, what does this knob do? What happens if you turn this screw? And how does that affect everything? This is a more basic machine. What this knob does is change the length of your stitch, which not only matters with what you may like it to look like, it matters depending on the fabric you're using. And then this, of course, is the tension device. And if you turn this too far to the right, your thread's going to break all the time. A Singer 99 is as easy as you can get as far as figuring out what you're doing and why you're making a stitch the way you're making it. It's like a grown-up Model 20. So I just wanted to point that out to people that, like in my case, this is 25 pounds like this. I would rather it be back in the Bentwood case bottom. I'm looking at pretty floral tote bags that have wooden panels in the bottom. And, you know, I could put this in the bottom there. The problem with me for that is that then the bottom is exposed to dirt, dust, whatever. That's why I would rather have it in the Bentwood case. These are all enclosed, and unless you take this off to use the free arm. So sewing machines have changed a lot from 1934 to 2015. That's when I bought this, 2015. So this basically almost needs its case. And what I may do is, like I said, keep this one right here on the kitchen table in the base bottom. This machine sat on my grandmother's kitchen table for, I don't know, 20 or 30 years. And people had to eat dinner around it. It didn't move off the table. And I was thinking, maybe because she couldn't pick it up by herself. I mean, that could be it. But it had a place of honor on the kitchen table. And anyway, today I'm going to make some masks for people. And I'm going to use the 99. I also still have seizures. And a couple of times I've forgotten how to sew, if you can believe it. This is easier to just turn the crank and sew. It really is like a grown-up Model 20. And it takes all the side clamping attachments. But this one, and this is the catch with the new machines, they're lighter, and I guess if you've been sewing for a while, they have everything right here that you might need instead of a buttonhole attachment or a zigzag attachment. You know, it's right there, and you can just pick it up and go. The problem is they're more or less disposable. This machine is 87 years old. 87 years old is amazing. And I think Singer should get back to doing things right. Now this is becoming the kind of Saturday I don't like having. Here's the 99 again, but now I've got the motor back on it. And before you think, wow, she's lost her mind, what I found out today, I did the comparison with the brother. Now there's a Model 20 here. I also had a Spartan out, and I don't know if other people are going to face this same kind of decision-making process. So I know this is the one machine I promised I would never get rid of, sell, give away. I have family members that could take it, but I promised I'd keep it. So this is the one that's gotta stay. And I did the size comparison earlier with the brother, but then I got to the weight comparison. And this has the motor back on it because I decided it did need to be in the Bentwood case, or I do have a cabinet that when I get a quilt done, I might be able to put it in a cabinet. But I have to make sure there's a drip pan or an apron underneath it because I don't want the bottom to get all gunky and dusty. So that's in the future. So right now I decided it needed to be in the case. And I had it as a hand crank. I love it as a hand crank. What I don't love is that I can't put the Bentwood case top on it. So then, as you saw it earlier, I took it out of the case and I was just gonna carry it around like my Spartan, and it just didn't feel right. It felt unprotected. I called it naked before. It felt like it's not the way the machine should be. So, in the meantime, and this is my physical problem, from moving the 1591, the white, family rotary, the Spartan, and the 99, just from moving them around today, picking them up, I, a little while ago, had a massive seizure, and so I have a medical aspect that has to come into this. I have to be able to pick up the machine I'm using. Simply because I'm going to leave this one on the kitchen table. This one is now planted on the kitchen table because I can't pick it up. I can pick up a Model 20. I can take that anywhere with me. Let me go over the weights. Out of the case, all by itself, the 99 weighs 22 pounds. Now, I had said there's no difference between this and the Spartan, but the Spartan, in its plastic base, which is the same exact machine, supposedly, only weighs 20 pounds. So, this is a slightly heavier machine somehow. And the brother, just without the foot pedal, the brother, the box says 12 pounds. I thought it was 13. It weighs 8 pounds. So then I went through this whole, oh, I'm going to have to give them all up and only use the brother. It's the only one I can really pick up. And this is because of surgery. I'm not supposed to pick things up. I'm not even supposed to pick the dog up. So it's kind of about getting old. I mean, I have seizures and I can't pick things up. But I have 14 machines that now I kind of can't pick up. So the Spartan comes in at, I think I said 20 pounds, and that's like the maximum limit. The brother is the lightest one. Everything else, including this one, is heavier. So I figured if this has to be planted at the kitchen table, it may as well have the original motor and the original light and be all set up the way that it was used for so many years. The idea of a hand crank is that you can pick up the hand crank and take it somewhere and not need power. So, that's not going to apply for this if I can't pick it up. So anyway, the other thing I want to show you, and I may have to put the camera down for a second, you see how loose this belt is. And the belt's been on there for a while, and that's actually a bend in the belt. But watch how the machine runs with the belt loose. Now earlier I had said this machine was slow, and that's because I had tightened the belt. This is looser than I would normally leave a belt, but this is how the machine runs well. So it's not the motor that was sluggish at all. It was, I adjusted this to be a normal belt tightness, which should be like about that. But if I tighten that right now, the machine will have trouble going. So I'm going to leave it like this unless it slips off of there. And if anybody knows why that might be the case, that some machines actually just don't need a really taut belt. If I turn the hand wheel, the belt turns, and like I said, the belt is a little, it's not really old. It's just been in, I haven't used the machine in a while, so it's been sitting in one position. So it does pull tautly and turn, but it's just more loose than I would normally have it. But at the same time, that's the speed the machine always ran at. So that's one thing. Now, in the middle of a seizure, and most of the time I lose the ability to speak. But anyway, this time, in the middle of the seizure, all of these flashes about Model 20s being the only one I can pick up like a Chihuahua. I'm relating it to my dog. How big is a dog? The funny thing is, the Spartan weighs about the same as the dog. The 99 weighs about the same as the dog without the Bentwood case. So here's a Chihuahua. I don't even know how much they weigh, like 3 pounds maybe. This is a machine you can take anywhere. So I may be finishing face masks, leaving the 99 planted here. I have a coat planned. I have, I'm finishing a quilt on another machine, but I have a coat planned. I have some face masks to make. And then I may be saying, you know what? This one I can take anywhere. So we'll see. I'm still on my sewing adventure, but the 99 is back to original state, and I feel bad because I really liked it as a hand crank. But now I can just put the cover on it and keep it protected when I'm not using it. One other thing to add here, I got out the attachments that go with this. I have a blind stitch attachment, a zigzag attachment with, I think, all of the cams. They sell them in different colors, but they actually also made all the different cans in red. I have a buttonholer, which has several templates for buttonholes. So those are all the, I think those are all the different attachments that you would need to do what was similar on the brother. But it's actually, that's where you get your variation in sewing. For example, the coat that I want to make is actually like an asymmetrical coat. I have one already, but it's old, so I'm going to make another one. And it's got, I don't know, one buttonhole. But And it sounds silly, but you can pick out the buttonhole template you want to use for your coat. And in vintage sewing, that was the big excitement. Or with the zigzag cams, the big excitement is the stitch pattern. So you don't get bored with this. Just because it's a simple machine, there's no reverse. This is the stitch length knob. And I had said earlier that, you know, you got to figure out what these are. That's only if you don't have the manual. And the manuals are available online. So I have all the attachments that will go with this. And, you know, the only thing I'm upset about now is that it's not a hand crank. But at the same time, it's original, including the original motor. Now, one last thing is that my grandmother had actually given me my Model 20 when I was 7. It was a different one than this one. It's beige. But, so, you know, I mentioned this is partly about getting older, and yet here are the two machines from my grandmother. So how can I go wrong with that?